Okay.
Here we go.
More music. Better mental health. Only on IPL Radio.
And welcome back to Good Vibrations with Mish. And I've got Monique.
Hi.
I've got Lana.
Hello.
And I've got a special guest, Lorraine Horsley. Hello, Lorraine.
Hello. Good afternoon, team. Good to be here.
Thank you for coming in. Now, Lorraine is a author, correct? Writer, speaker,
Yes.
mentor,
Yeah. Time to time.
tutor.
Yes, I'm a university tutor.
Wow, you're full on.
Yeah, I do a few things.
Okay.
And also work with the City of Melville Libraries doing events and coordinating events for them as well. Author talks
Excellent.
and things like that.
So if it's okay with you, can we go back and talk about the start of your career? Where did it come from? And were you always English, studying English and all that sort of stuff at schools? Did you
Yep.
enjoy that type of thing? Have you-
100% English.
Oh, okay.
I was terrified. You'd put a fraction or an algebra equation on the board, I'd want to pass out.
Oh, really?
So English was always my thing.
Yeah.
I was addicted to books from a very early age.
Uh-huh.
My husband will tell you I'm still very much addicted to books. They take over the entire house wherever possible.
Okay.
And I'd always wanted to be a writer.
Yeah.
So I went through school. I got 3 degrees, all basically arts-based. I'm working
Wow.
on another degree now, and higher degree by research to produce a young adult novel.
Gosh.
And along the way, I worked a lot in media and everything English-based. Basically, that's my life.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so there was definitely a reasoning behind what you're doing now, even from a very early age. And then, so from school, you obviously went to university. You've done degrees, etc. What was your first paying job?
My first paying job, we're talking about that off air just now. I worked as a checkout chick when I grew up in England. I think I started when I was 14.
Yeah.
I was very excited because I got a uniform. It was green. It was the most beautiful thing you would ever see, not. And I was so proud to get that first pay packet and take it home to mum and say,
Absolutely.
look, actually,
and it would have been cash in those days.
yeah, it was
too.
little yellow envelope with some cash inside.
Wow.
These guys probably don't know what cash is.
No,
They're so young.
no, that's right. I'm trying to teach them even the 80s music, and it's just really hard work.
I'm an 80s diehard,
Yeah.
so I've been bopping along
Oh,
the last
perfect.
hour or so listening
Whereabouts
to
in
you guys.
England are you from?
I come from Plymouth in Devon.
Oh, okay, I'm from Berkshire.
Yeah.
I was born in England myself. So.
Good spot.
Yeah, lovely.
But I love the sunshine over here. So
Oh yeah, I don't like the heat though. I mean, it's just I don't like the heat. I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm
I'd rather
definitely
be
a
warm
palm.
than
Oh
cold.
really? No, I'm the opposite.
any day of the week.
I'm the opposite. Well, what age were you when you came out?
17.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was 10. So
yeah,
yeah, okay.
that's
no,
when I met Joe for the first time. A mutual friend of ours, at
Wow.
Canning College in year 12, and
Yeah, when she popped up on air when we were chatting the other day, I'm thinking, where did she come from? I don't know. She must, because she must have been linked to your
Yeah,
account. So
yeah.
I'll
Small
have to
world.
catch up with her. Yeah, no, this is small. So hello, Joe, if you're listening. Yeah, we'll have to catch up for a coffee or a ride. Hopefully you're riding your Harley still, unfortunately. No, I'm kidding. Definitely mutual friend. So you've gone to university, you've done checkout chick. What was your next point of call after the checkout?
I have done so many jobs. I'd be here for the rest of the afternoon
Okay.
if I listed them all. I get bored really easily, so I'm always like
And
jumping
especially
from job to job.
as we're older, we have,
Yeah.
we're going to have a bit of a history. So
Yeah, so I've done all sorts of jobs. Like most of them are English based. I had my own video business for a while. I made
really?
videos, which was pretty incredible. I did some amazing things. I used to live on the goldfields, and one of my favourite videos I ever made was for Water Corp. They rang me up one day and said, "We've got a job for you, but you're going to have to come down and see us." I went,
Okay.
this should be interesting.
Yeah.
So I went down, and they wanted me to go into the goldfields water pipeline on a trolley and film the inside of the
Really?
pipeline. Yeah. Which was great, and I did it.
Wow.
It was amazing. They had this little trolley, and I could go from hare to rabbit. That was the 2 speeds, and I'd lie flat on my belly, and I'd just fit with my big camera in the
wow.
light. And then I got pregnant just towards the end of the job, and then they ran over time. They're like, "We're not going to finish on time." I'm like, "Well, you've got
too bad.
You haven't got much time because they ain't going to fit
No.
for much longer."
Not on that flatbed thing going through the pipeway. Wow.
No, so that was fun. So I've done some pretty incredible things along the way.
That sounds awesome. So that would be one thing that you would remember. What's something else that you remember that was just from the
probably
media?
teaching.
From the media you, teaching?
Teaching was a really interesting thing for me because the books that I've written, one of them is called "You've Got This: Tips for the Uncertain Student," and like I mentioned earlier, I was English all the way.
Yeah, pop
hated
this up,
maths
by the way. Yeah.
with an absolute passion.
Yeah.
But then a really bizarre thing happened to me. I went to work for Curtin University in Kalgoorlie in their VTech arm, and I said, I'll teach anything but not maths. So you can guess what happened.
Right. Oh, you're joking.
No. And I went, look, I don't know that I can do this. And I went, well, you can. You know, you have passed year 12 and it's lower level than that. Give it a go.
Yeah.
So I went, okay, no worries. And I was one lesson ahead of the students all the way through.
Wow.
And I remember at one point, we got to a point and someone in the class said to me, oh, this is easy for you. You're the teacher. And I wanted to choke. And I went, do I tell them? Do I admit that I don't know what I'm doing? Or do I confess or do I keep it to myself? And I said, no, I'm going to tell them. So I said, well, look, guys, this is the deal.
Okay.
My degrees are in English. I'm one lesson ahead of you. And if I can teach myself algebra, no one here is leaving the room till you can do it too.
Wow.
And it was amazing because they were like,
That's amazing.
you don't get it. And I went, no, I never got it.
But
So
I'm
I
learning
got
it
that they
now.
didn't get it.
Oh,
And it was a really
right.
big turning point in my teaching. That's when I suddenly started to realise we tend to pigeonhole ourselves.
Yeah.
We say, I'm an English person or I'm a maths person
Yeah.
or I can't do
Yeah.
this. And there's usually a reason why we set up those barriers for ourselves. But our brains are smarter than that. When you think about, you know, the neuroplasticity that we all have, we can retrain ourselves and retrain
Wow.
our way of thinking. We just need to get out of our own way. So that's why I wrote this particular book.
So tell me more about the book then. Tell me what's it all about?
Well, I've written lots of stuff over the course of my life. I've had a picture book come out last year, and I've got lots of other books I normally write for children. But all my life, I've worked in media.
Why have you gone with the children's books? Do you want to hold that up
that
just so
one.
the video can see it?
Where's the correct video?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
one?
They'll
Yep.
switch it.
Hey,
Yeah.
excellent. So this one I actually wrote before the non-fiction book. It was when the gay marriage vote had just gone through in Australia, and I really wanted to write a book for children whose parents might have gone through a marriage breakup. And I wanted the introduction of a new parent, because I'm a step parent myself, to show that even though things might be different, it doesn't mean it's going to be bad.
Okay.
And it was really important to me that the new parent, you can't tell the gender of that parent. It's just called Alex all the way through.
Yep.
To open it up to more stories for more diverse people from more diverse
that's
backgrounds. So yeah, I've had a good response to this
That's
picture
true.
book.
So what's it called?
It's called When You Left.
When You Left.
The illustrator Mega is just amazing. She lives in India. The publisher herself is in London, so it's a real
International
collaboration internationally.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, and it's a story of hope. It's sad because obviously there's a family breakup and the
Yeah.
child's conflicted, and
Yeah.
but at the end it's like, you know, things are better, not
Yeah.
worse. Or, you know, are they better? Are they worse? They're different, and I think I'm okay with that.
That's really good. I like that. That's really good. So you've done a lot of these types of things. It's mainly for children.
Mostly children. I've just launched my first Kickstarter today, which is exciting.
Oh,
I've got,
congratulations!
thank you. I'm starting. It's a book I wrote 20 years ago, and it's basically a book of kindness. It's called The Magic Lunchbox.
I love that idea.
It's an early reader chapter book, and it got lots of positive comments from publishers and all the rest of it.
fantastic. Oh, good for
But
you.
I couldn't quite get it over the traditional line, so I went, right, I'm just going to do it myself.
Wow.
So
well
I've engaged
done.
a local artist called Hannah Katarski, who's just amazing, who's going to do my illustrations. And yeah, hopefully we'll get enough money to get it over the line. So
That's
fingers crossed.
terrific. Oh, good luck with that. I hope it all comes to fruition. Now, this one, you've got tips for uncertain student. There you go, Monique.
I
This
know
might be-
lots of them.
You might what the uncertain students.
Oh yeah.
Why did you write this one?
Well, it was funny. Like, I've always written fiction, and as in my life in the media, obviously I was dealing with non-fiction, and I wrote a lot of ghostwriting for non-fiction websites. And I thought, if I was to write a non-fiction book, I was driving, what would I write? And I went, I'd write a book for my students. So when we first started, I teach Uni Ready at Curtin. Every semester we do this getting to know you exercise and say, like, you know, what do you think your barriers are?
Okay.
And I would read every one of them. So sometimes it'd be hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And it would be, I'm going to fail. I've always failed.
Yeah.
I'm anxious. I've got fear of failure. Why would this be any different?
Yeah.
And that would have been 30% to 50% of the ones that I had in my hand, which was massive.
Yeah.
And I thought, and these are the guys that are telling me. You know, what about the ones that aren't telling me?
Yes.
So by the time I got back in my driveway after coming up with this idea, I had every chapter in my head of thought,
Already.
what do these guys need to know? And this is the book I wish I had at 17.
Is that right? There you go. 16
there
coming
you
up
go.
17.
That'd be really good
It's
for me as well.
perfect.
Like I'm 29, but I never actually followed through with like doing tertiary study, and like I tried doing uni prep at ACU when I was about 20, but then I had to move out of home and start working full time. So like that didn't end up working, and I'm probably going to end up doing Uni Ready at Curtin.
Good for
like,
you.
That's where I want to go.
Good choice.
I want to do creative writing.
Wonderful.
But in the long run, I want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So like, have you got any tips for someone that like wants to go down that path, but is like quite uncertain about their capacity to, and like?
Oh, 100%. I could talk to you for weeks, but we've only got a few minutes. So honestly,
I was going to say that it's interesting because it says how to get your higher education off to a good start, build confidence and achieve study success. So really this isn't just for 17-year-olds. This is because I went back to TAFE 2 years ago. So I was out of the schooling system for 35 years and went back to TAFE, and I was really scared. There's a fly in here. Really scared and very anxious about moving into that area again. Because it is a scary place to be when you haven't been at school for 35 years. But TAFE was a brilliant source of education. I loved it. But I really needed the confidence. And I lacked confidence walking in the door, but I came out with some great confidence as well. But this book, so some of the chapters, for example, it says know you're smart and know you are smart.
Yes, that's a spelling thing. So you can't see that on radio, but it's the your, Y-O-U-R, and
the
your
R-A.
as in you are.
Yeah.
And that, again, comes back to a little bit to that pigeonhole we were talking about earlier, is that you have that inbuilt smart. For me, that was always English, mainly because my dad was an avid reader. He taught me to be an avid reader. I loved reading.
Yep.
I became English-based.
Yep.
But we tend to pigeonhole ourselves. So know what your smart is. For me, it was English, but don't pigeonhole yourself. I can now do maths and I'm not frightened anymore.
I haven't found my smart yet.
That's probably because you've got many of them.
Maybe.
Yeah. And the know you're smart, as in you are smart, is your brain is as perfectly capable of learning and achieving as anybody else's. And the barriers we create are mostly our own. So to come back to your question, the tip I would give you is get out of your own way. Because you are as capable of achieving, I heard some of your story on the way down, as anybody else is. And it really is about putting your foot on that first rung of the ladder and you just keep progressing. And yes, you'll have knockbacks and yes, you'll fail, but you will get to the top rung and you'll look back and you go, thank goodness I started when I did. And I see that all the time. One of my mature age students, actually, I've taught Uni Ready for many years now. I ran into her last year and I taught her very basic communication through Uni Ready and she was just completing her PhD.
Wow.
So it's possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you just, if you know where you want to head, you can get there. And I have no doubt about that. And that's what the book's about, is about that. It's not so much a book on how to study, because there's a million of them out there.
Oh,
and how to
absolutely.
pass exams.
Yeah.
This is about how to be brave enough to give it a go in the first place and to back yourself. So I'm in that book. I'm your little cheerleader.
Yeah.
So I'll get Mish to send you a copy, and then you'll have me in your head going,
yeah,
you can do it. You can do it.
Absolutely.
And you too. You get a copy too.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. What's your why as a chapter 3? What does that mean?
What's your why? That's an interesting one. When I say to my students initially, why are you here? They say, oh, because I want to be a teacher or an architect or a doctor. And I go, yeah, but what's really your why? So that comes back to why are you actually here. Like for some people, it's I've always wanted to be a vet, and that's what I'm working towards. Other people might be, everyone in my family's gone to university, so I want to go too.
Okay.
Or it might be that, I'm expected to achieve, so therefore. So then it's like assessing why you're there and how well do you think you will do based on what your motivation is for being there. So if I'm externally motivated because my family expect me to be there, that might be enough. Or it might not be enough.
No.
But if I'm there because I'm there for me, then it's probably going to be enough.
That's the difference.
And I've started heaps of courses that I've quit because they weren't quite right, the right thing at the right time. Like how you said you started at ECU, well, certainly wasn't the right time in your life because life gets in the way. But that's only a side step.
And that was
have to be
then.
the end of the road.
It's not now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it is okay to quit. If they're not right for you, because people think, you've got to finish it, you've got to finish it, you've got to finish it. But by the time you finished it, you've got, what a waste of a year or a waste of 2 years I've just had, because it really wasn't what I wanted to do.
In the right place,
yeah,
doing
exactly.
the right thing.
All through the book, there's got notes of encouragement in here from lots of people throughout the world. What would be your favourite? Now we'll put you on the spot now.
Oh, gosh, that is a hard one. It's probably one from another author friend of mine, actually, called Diane Wolfer. And I've sort of stolen her phrase a bit because she's done a PhD as an older person.
Right.
She had other degrees. She was a teacher, and she's written all these award-winning books, just amazing writer. And she completed her PhD, and she said there's a lot to be said for being a determined plodder. So that's it. It's all about just putting one foot in front of the other.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I like the way you've got like little pictures in there. Where was it? Something about hot chips. It's time for coffee and some hot tips.
Hot tips.
And there's actually hot tips in like the chip. Looks like a chip thing.
Yep.
So cute.
The cartoonist is actually a really good friend of mine.
Oh, cool.
And I said I wanted the book to be really accessible because there's lots of really heavy academic books out there.
Yeah.
So I wanted there to be quotes to motivate people. I wanted cartoons to sort of lift it and make it a bit of fun.
Slightly, because you remember there's 16 or 17-year-olds reading this book as well.
Yeah,
so
I want it to be really accessible.
Yeah.
And Shantira, who did the cartoons for me, did a really good job of encapsulating that.
yeah, that's
One of my
awesome.
favourite pictures in there actually is a photo of somebody sitting next to a monster, and the monster is fear. And it's like, fear is your friend.
This one's procrastination.
Oh, yeah, there's the monster back again.
Yeah, I hate procrastination.
Yeah.
It's my worst. I hate it. Absolutely.
And the reason one of the reasons we procrastinate is quite interesting. There's a chapter in there called the 2 Ps, and that's procrastination and perfectionism. And we wait and we think, I will do this essay when it's going to be perfect, when I have the perfect amount of time and the perfect resources. So then you procrastinate, which feeds the perfectionism, and then you end up in this horrible loop.
But what if there's no perfectionism involved in that procrastination?
Well,
It's totally different.
depends why you're procrastinating. There's lots of reasons. Often it's fear. Often it's like, I'll do it later.
I think so. I think fear would be the big one.
I don't think it's going to be good enough. I'm not ready enough. The person next to me is much smarter than me. All of those things that you think about. So we procrastinate. I'm the world's best procrastinator.
Really?
But I'm also really good at doing things well in the last minute. So you've also got to know what works well for you.
Yeah,
I need that little bit of pressure
I'm a
to do better.
deadline person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not.
If I know someone's going to put their boot on my neck in about like a day, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go really fast now.
For example, I'm going on holidays in about 6 to 8 weeks, and I've been packing my bag for a month already. So that's how much I'm a planner. I couldn't stand the last minute thing.
No, I'm not a planner.
I'm a planner for
by the
sure.
seat of the pantser.
Yeah.
And
That's
there's one
me. That's
oh,
me.
really? I know, I
Yeah.
can't stand that. I can't do it. And there's an animation here that says you can't hit a target that you're not able to see. So that's where your goals come in.
That's where the goals come in.
Your goals.
Yeah, and a goal
That's quite
without a plan
cute.
is just a dream. So you need to make those steps happen.
That's so I like it. It's really good. So I would definitely suggest that anyone who's there we go. There's fear. Have some ice cream. Make fear your friend. Do not fear it. So there's a student sitting next to a monster that's got fear on his T-shirt, and he's asking the monster, "Have some ice cream," and they're saying, "Make fear your friend. Don't fear it."
And the reason that chapter's in there, again, I
like
think
that.
most of us are afraid to make that commitment to starting something new.
100%.
And fear is there to keep us safe. So we've got that inborn, innate fear. Once upon a
it's
time,
that flight and fight.
we would have been
situation,
attacked by
isn't it?
like tigers and lions and bears. So we have that
Oh,
fear.
no.
So that fear is now shifted to a fear of the classroom or a fear of maths. So the fear is always going to be there. I'm doing my higher degree by research. I'm still scared I'm going to fail. But the difference is I know I can trick myself into getting further along the path.
That's awesome.
So
That's
embrace
really
the fear.
So the book that we're discussing is You've Got This, and it's Tips for the Uncertain Student by Lorraine Horsley, and it's a Dixie book. Where can we get hold of it?
It's available everywhere online, only in hard copy at the moment. We haven't got the ebook out yet. So through my website, lorrainehorsley.com. But the best bet is probably to go onto Book Depository because you don't pay postage. So it makes it that little
there you
bit cheaper.
go. I'll definitely look into that. You're doing Year 12 this year.
Yep.
Excellent. You've got this.
I got this.
You've got
You've
this.
got this. There will be
Yeah.
questions later.
And then the children's book when you left. Sorry, it's the children's book about separation and parent separation
Yep, that's
with
the one.
step parents, etc. It's really beautiful and it's just gorgeous book. I haven't picked up a child's book in years.
I love the illustrations. That
They're so
Mega has
good.
just brought so much to the story that I would
It's
never have envisaged. And
beautiful.
I reckon she was stalking me because when I look at those
Yeah, the
pictures,
pictures
of,
are very similar,
of the
aren't
mum,
they?
it's very much like
Have
me,
you
I
asked
reckon.
her that?
No, I haven't been
You
tempted to. I
should.
should actually ask.
Because
Just
it's
to clear it
quite
up once and for
interesting.
all.
Curiosity.
I think I like that book because, like, I can relate to it because my parents are divorced and my mum has a boyfriend and my dad has a girlfriend. So it's like, it's also bringing in what the step parents get a vision on. So, like,
Yeah.
it's good for, like, young kids who are dealing with that and then
Good-
they, like,
yeah.
know.
Because it must be hard as a child to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone who's leaving your home environment and there's someone new walking in the door, that must be
Yeah.
extremely confusing.
Well, my stepchildren are both in their mid-30s now. It makes me feel terribly old.
Yeah.
So, and I've got a couple of grandkids, and we've got also 3 children of our own, so there's 5 kids altogether. And I often think about that when I first met Jeff, my husband. Like, my stepchildren were 5 and 7 when we got married, and they were so young. And they also had a little bit further down the track, a stepfather came into their life because their mum, met somebody new. And of course, initially it's really hard because nobody really knows what their roles are.
No.
Like I was 20, all of 23,
Wow.
and I had like an instant family. I'm like, what do I do with these people?
Yeah, am I
No
allowed to
idea.
tell the kids off or, that type of thing? How far do you go with...
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And over the years, obviously, we've come incredibly close. I'm really blessed that we all got on really well, including like my husband's ex and her partner.
Yeah, lucky.
And now that my children are a lot older, I remember when Jessica, the eldest one, my stepdaughter, was in high school, and she said to me, like, people still say to me now, do you wish your parents got back together?
Oh.
And she said, but no, because then I wouldn't have you and I wouldn't have Darren in my life. I've got
Exactly.
4 parents.
There you go.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
you get
There's
lots of Christmas
Yeah.
presents.
Oh, there you go. Birthday present. I never thought of that.
But then you get told off 4 times, so,
Oh,
it's a
Yeah.
balance thing.
okay.
I think like for a lot of kids, like if it's normalized for them and they actually get love from like all different kinds
Yeah.
of like, because my son like I'm not with like his other mum, and we hadn't really been his entire life, and like it was funny, we were driving back to mum's one day after picking him up, and mum asked him like, Ben, who are your parents? And he started listing off his aunties and uncles and like his grandparents and all this kind of stuff. I think I was like 5th on the list. And had to like kind of look at him and be like, "Hi,
I'm here."
but he actually like he believes that like for him his parents are all the people, all the grown ups in his life that have kind of raised him.
Oh, that's
You know,
great.
like that's his understanding of what a parent is. Like it's not just like your mum's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like like all of the people that are your grown ups.
And that's
That's
fantastic to be
wonderful.
surrounded by all that
Yeah.
love, and that's who
Yeah.
you think
And,
about.
he speaks of it so naturally, like he doesn't seem to have any like hard feelings about that he hasn't got like this.
It's going to be very expensive on Mother's Day.
Yeah,
You're very costly.
Yeah. But no, that's wonderful. Have you got any other questions you want to ask? I'll put you on the spot. All good? Go, because you do. Lorraine has been in ABC Radio, so you want to go on radio. So maybe you want to talk to her about her past in the radio scene.
Okay. When did you start doing radio?
Well, I actually got into radio by accident. So when I did my first degrees, I majored in film, television, and writing, and I've worked in TV, and I've worked as a journalist, and I actually wasn't interested in radio at all. And I got offered a job at ABC doing some online stuff, online stories, which I loved. And then I started recording stories, and I fell in love with the medium, and I didn't want to leave. And I got offered the Saturday morning job. And I did that, and I remember that my first night on air, you guys are doing fantastically well. I was so frightened. I wouldn't walk into the studio, like even though I worked there, I used to hate just walking into even being in the studio terrified the life out of me. The night before, I had to take Valium because I couldn't sleep. And then when I got on air, I had my boss sitting next to me, and he said, I'll talk you through it. It's all good. And we had all the knobs and switches. And we were on air, I think, at 6:05. At 3 minutes past 6, I decided I was going to vomit.
Oh,
And he's going to find a bucket. The ABC didn't own a bucket.
Oh,
The best I could do with this is empty fish tank.
Oh my God.
You're kidding.
This empty, luckily there's no fish in it. Empty fish tank between my legs, spending half the show thinking I'm going to be sick, and the other half thinking, but if I am sick, he's going to see it because it's a fish tank.
Yeah.
But we got through the first show, and I got through the halfway through, and I said to him, we were in the news, and I went, "You tell me now, and I will never set foot in this studio." He said, "Don't be stupid, you'll get used to it," and I did.
Yeah.
And then I ended up being the mornings presenter
Wow.
for years for Golfers Esperance, and I was lucky enough to work as a producer on Ian Cameron's Breakfast Show when I came back to Perth.
Fantastic.
So an amazing career, an amazing opportunity, just because I said yes, even though I was terrified,
There you
which comes
go.
back to the
There you go. Fight
be
the
afraid
fear.
but do it anyway.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's something you want to do. Is you want to do radio?
Yeah. Amazing medium. I would walk back into radio tomorrow if I had the chance.
Like I've never ever thought about radio. I've only been in this since October last year, and I literally walked through the door, had no idea what I was walking into. And I think it was like 2 weeks later, I had my own show. I'm thinking, well, what's going on? I love it. It's
I do too.
fantastic.
And it's the most intimate thing. Like by the time I got here today, having listening to you guys on the way down
Yeah.
in the car, I
Yeah.
thought, I know these people. I'm not so scared
You know,
anymore.
yeah, exactly.
I know stuff.
And the other reason why I do my show is it's a mental health awareness is my show. So and I meet so many different people and so many different stories that I've learnt their stories and learnt a lot about myself in the same time. It's just brilliant. I just absolutely love it. So and as we talked about it before, that it's very much you have to be very much in the moment because you can't think about what's happening tomorrow. You can't think about what's happened yesterday. It's exactly now, and that's just what I need for my mental health.
Yeah,
it's just
very
all about
much
the
in
now.
the
The
moment.
now.
Yeah. You
so
can't
it's
drift off
brilliant.
on radio because people notice.
No, no, you can't. I think I've done it once, not drift off, but I've forgotten the song's almost finished, and there was a bit of a delay before the next one. Oh gosh, I forgot that one. Yeah, but no, it's just been brilliant. So I recommend anyone coming in, and you guys will be definitely our next step in the doors, with Lana and Monique coming in, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
It's been lovely, and if you ever want to come back,
I'll be in that, definitely.
yeah, that'd be, please, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Good luck with your teaching. Good luck with your radio.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
Good luck with your radio talk.
Thank you. You've just come back from a beautiful holiday in Singapore and Cambodia.
I know, it was amazing.
Wow.
My husband and I are involved with Rotary, and they partner with a group called Sustainable Cambodia, and it's all about empowering the communities, and the communities have to invest as well as Rotary.
Yep.
And they put money in, and I went to we went on the back of a tractor to one of the villages. That's how remote it was.
Yeah.
And we saw their cow and the latrines and the wells that have been put in as part of a Rotary project. And the change in these people's lives just by
That's
having water.
amazing.
I will never look at water the same way again.
No, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, just incredible.
When I go on
experience.
I've been to Vietnam and I've been to Singapore. Oh, look, there's a picture. Look, you would have seen the other,
Oh, yeah.
breakfast at Tiffany's.
I did see that.
Yeah, we every time I go on a holiday to either Bali or Vietnam, I always take these packs that I make up. It's got a toothbrush in it. It's got a pen or pencil in it. It's got some sort of toy, usually one of those party poppers or something. It's something for the kids, so the kids get like a gift pack. So every time I go around the villages and I see kids, I give them a little
something.
and they're so excited about just nothing to me, but it's and lollipops. Usually got a lollipop in it. I love doing that.
Yeah,
Love
it is
doing
incredible.
that.
Like my husband and I sponsor a child basically to stay in school, and that's a large part of what Sustainable Cambodia is about. And it doesn't take a lot of money every year just to keep them in school, and they're just so grateful to be in school because it means they can start stepping out of that poverty trap.
That's right.
So we got there and we were like rock stars. Like they'd warned us, but we got off the bus and these kids were lining the path to the school singing, and they had all these amazing like scarves and stuff they'd made and draped them around our necks and clapped us in, and I'm like,
It's just
so I was
it's
a sobbing mess.
overwhelming.
But they were like, what's wrong with this woman?
Yeah.
But it was a really emotional
That's
experience.
beautiful. We in Vietnam we went to orphanages and handed out pens and schooling and stationery stuff. It was just the smallest thing you can offer is just a big
it was
thing
so
for them. It's just
appreciated.
wonderful.
And I left a couple of my books there too. So they're in
that's
their library now.
fantastic. Oh, there you go.
So
that's
good.
fantastic.
I've travelled the world with my books.
That's really good and good for you. See, it's your goal. So where to next?
Well, I've got that Kickstarter happening. My goal this year is to get 4 books out. I've got a possibility of another one with this same publisher, which is a children's young adult story.
Yep.
I've got another one that I've written, which is an adult novel, which I'd actually like to self-publish, just for the joy of doing it.
Yeah.
And I've got another series that I'm hoping the same cartoonist that did that will help me
Oh, brilliant.
put together for it's a series for boys called This Is Sid Aussie Kid. A lot of the early readers out there are all about sportsmen or heroes, and this is just about a nice kind kid who does
Brilliant.
fun stuff.
I love that.
So,
Love that. That's
so
awesome.
I'll let you know when that's out. I'll send it down to you.
No, come back. Yeah, come back and tell me. Yeah, but definitely keep in contact, and I'm always looking for people to come in and have a chat. It's just a chit chat, isn't it? Nice chit chat.
Yeah, that's been
So-
lovely
Chit
chatting with
chat.
you. I've
Yeah,
enjoyed
it's been
myself.
fantastic. So Lorraine, thank you so much for coming in. I'm going to go. I'm an 80s freak, so I'm going to go over to an 80s song if you've got one up for me, because you did it all.
I just chose something random.
You did choose something because you don't know any of these songs.
I'm an 80s girl too. When I was at the ABC, every now and again we'd have a set playlist and we'd have a couple of songs that you were allowed to play.
Oh yeah.
Always an 80s track.
Yeah, there you go. So there is an 80s track on here because all my crate is 80s. But Monique's been doing the deck
the
today,
young'un,
so she's
put it
just
in
been
more modern
clicking
stuff.
everything in. So yeah, this would definitely be 80s. So thanks again and have a great weekend.
Thanks so much. You too.